These are 4 books that when you read them, you say, what the is going on? But they're still worth reading because the writing is so incredible. First up is Pedro Paramo by Juan Rulfo. This is a famous work of Mexican literature, and it's kind of like a ghost story, but the narrative is difficult to follow because it jumps around in time and you're not really sure what is real and what's imagined. But the descriptions and just the writing in general in this book is really worth it for that alone, even if you don't fully understand what's happening. Next is To Hell with Kronia by Ingrid Winterbach. She is a South African author, and this is about a guy fighting in the Boer War, and he kind of defects. It's also a little bit like a ghost story. It has some of the most beautiful descriptions of the landscape and just what this guy's imagining is really well written. But because of the loose narrative, but also some of the Dutch words, it does make it hard to follow. This next one's from one of my favorite authors, and you can see that I heavily flagged this one because there's so many amazing passages that are just like, oh my God, I want to go back to this. And it's Omen Setter's Luck by William H. Gass. This one's about a guy living in Ohio in the turn of the century, and he just moved to this new town, and a lot of people are distrusting of him because he seems to have this unbelievable sense of luck about him, and it makes people very uneasy. William Gass is known to have some of the most beautiful prose of any American writer, and there's a lot of streams of conscience in this book, so if you're not into that, it might not be for you. But again, it's not super big on the narrative, but the writing alone, in my opinion, is absolutely worth it. And the last book on the list is probably one of the most challenging books I've ever read. I will definitely need to go back and reread it because on the first read through, I was really struggling to figure out what the hell was going on. But it's The Flanders Road by Claude Simon, who's actually a Nobel Prize winner. And this is about a guy who is fighting in World War II for the French. And basically, he's on a horse-mounted cavalcade. And as soon as he gets to the action, everything goes to hell and they get destroyed by a division of German panzer tanks. So in this book, the protagonist is kind of reliving certain moments over and over again. And it has a very feverish feel to it. Another thing that makes it challenging, but also very interesting, is that there's very little punctuation. There's probably maybe 24 periods throughout this whole book. But again, some of the descriptions and just the sentence by sentence writing in this book will absolutely blow your socks off. So I want to know, which books would you put on the list for books that have not so much narrative, but just absolutely brilliant writing?